Right, let's get started. So let's just settle into a comfortable meditation posture. So whether you are sitting on your chair with your feet flat on the floor, or whether you're sitting in the regular cross-legged position, have your be really trying to sit on top of your sits bones. If your feet are on the floor, really try and feel the soles of the feet through the floor, through your shoes, to the earth that supports them. And have your legs about a hip's width apart. And shoulders are aligned with the hips. And then just imagine your spine is a string of pearls of light stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. So just lengthen the spine. Try and put some space in between the vertebrae after we've been kind of tromping around all day. Everything seems to sort of just get a little bit smaller. The space in between the vertebrae seems to sort of reduce in the evening. When you wake up in the morning, you are a little bit taller. Then just go to the crown of the head and relax the scalp, the forehead, the eyes, the nose, the cheeks, the mouth, the back of the head. Relax the jaw, the temples, back of the neck. And allow the shoulders and the shoulder blades to drop down. Relax the throat, the chest, the belly, and all of your limbs. And then bring the mind to the breath and just very gently notice the sensation of the air as you're inhaling and exhaling. And this could be as simple as the rising and the falling of the chest or the belly. And then notice the sounds that are in your environment right now. So Shayla has Source there. And Source is, I don't know, what's he, maybe 5 now? Some of you have pets. And I don't know what sounds you're hearing other than that from within the house or from outside. But just allow the sounds to be there. Of course, Shayla, you're babysitting, so you have to keep an eye on him. But for everybody else who isn't looking after children, just allow the sounds. Try not to follow them with the mind. Then bring the mind back to the breath and just notice the thoughts that are arising. Try not to criticize what's going on internally. Maybe put some space in between those thoughts. And then maybe you could categorize or label the thoughts. So you could have, you might be thinking about something you're going to do tomorrow. So you could label that as planning. You might be thinking about something that happened today, some conversation. You could be creating a story around the conversation that you had. Well, that's a story. So just like that, we're just kind of looking as an objective observer, trying to analyze, objectively without getting too involved, what's going on in the mind. And once we can see what's there, that's half the battle. Then you can do something about it. But with compassion towards yourself, so don't judge what's there. And then bring to mind all the people of your life, your loved ones, the very near and dear ones that we are so very fond of. This makes such an impact in our life. And then there's those people in our life we don't like so much, and then there's our strangers. But remembering they can all change place at any time. This friend, this one we don't like, and our stranger. And then remembering they're all the same, they wish to be happy and they wish to be free from suffering, and then having this extraordinary capacity for Buddhahood. So I think there is no negativity that can't be purified. And this is quite impactful. I mean, take that in. We all have something in our mind that we regret. But there's nothing that you've done that is so bad that we can't do something about it. And I remember when I first went into one of the prisons here in California, Sierra Conservation Rehabilitation Center. Sounds very lofty and very healing, but it was nothing like that. It was a regular prison. And I remember the look of relief on the prisoners' faces when I mentioned that there isn't anything that they've done that's so awful that it can't be purified. We create this negativity with our mind. And we have this kind of this habits. So we can change the habits. We have neuroplasticity. Pathways, the neural pathways we don't use will be atrophied. We can create new ones. Amazing. It's all under our control. So we start with regret, the sincerely regret from the depths of your heart, anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all past lives. And you can think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general, regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. And we experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions. And having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. And we cannot bear the thought of the future suffering that we ourselves will experience. And we know from our present suffering that we don't want it. So logically, it makes sense to remove the karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So think like this. I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others. And then think again, I'm sick of this suffering. And then think, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to the power of reliance. And we turn to the Buddha, who we see as a doctor, rather than someone who is like this higher power that's going to fix everything for us. All we have to do is ask. It's not quite like that. So you imagine this Vajrasattva and something similar to this image, this really quite beautiful image above the crown of your head. And just imagine that he's made of light. There's kind of this light body above the crown of the head. You can also imagine this is the mind of your teacher manifesting in this form for your benefit. You're sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion, and has a beautiful radiant face. His eyes are long and peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life. He has a sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom, and the right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion. And their being crossed represents the union of these two, which symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings and the very beings we've harmed and those who have harmed us by developing a wish for them to be free from suffering. So we come to the power of the remedy, and we start with the body, and Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart, and it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely, and it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid, and this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mata Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified, and think there's no way you could do anything but benefit others now with your body. And the next is the purification of our speech, and Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech, which overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So just imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and lying and talking about other people behind their backs and getting other people to agree with you. All of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you as you recite the mantra. Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe. So if someone could please, there's someone who's not muted. So if could please just check that you're all muted. Thank you. And again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified. Imagine it's not possible to do anything but benefit others now with your speech. And the next is a purification of the mind. And Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So just the same as when you walk into a pitch black room and you flick on that switch, the light instantly dispels the darkness in the room. So just imagine all the attachment and neediness and anger and bitterness and depression, resentment, grudges, jealousy, all instantly dispelled, not one atom left as you recite the mantra. Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Aham Pe Ambajasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Mebawal Sitokaya Mebawal Sipokaya Mebawal Anurakta Mebawal Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Aham Pe Ambajasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Mebawal Sitokaya Mebawal Sipokaya Mebawal Anurakta Mebawal Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Hum Te. So again, be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are totally purified. And think now there's no space in your heart for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. So next is the purification of even the imprints of negativity of the body, speech, and mind. And this time imagine that Vajrasattva sends light and nectar, and it fills you completely and eradicates even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from the mind as we recite the mantra. Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Mebawal Situkaya Mebawal Sipokaya Mebawal Anurakta Mebawal Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Aham Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Mebawal Situkaya Mebawal Sipokaya Mebawal Anurakta Mebawal Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Aham Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Mebawal Situkaya Mebawal Sipokaya Mebawal Anurakta Mebawal Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Aham Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Mebawal Situkaya Mebawal Sipokaya Mebawal Anurakta Mebawal Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Aham Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Mebawal Situkaya Mebawal Sipokaya Mebawal Anurakta Mebawal Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Aham Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Mebawal Situkaya Mebawal Sipokaya Mebawal Anurakta Mebawal Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Aham Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Mebawal Situkaya Mebawal Sipokaya Mebawal Anurakta Mebawal Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Aham Pe. So now feel you're completely purified. There's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Just imagine even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. And now the power of resolve. And this is the fourth step in the purification process. And it's a really crucial one. We have to make a decision that we don't want to harm before anything is going to happen. And so if we don't make a decision, if we don't decide this is what we want to do, is to refrain from harming others and ourselves, we're just going to keep with these habits that we have. So we have to have faith in this neuroplasticity that we have in our brain, no matter what age we are. It's available to us. We just have to choose it, and we can decide. And we can decide what it is we want to work on. It's just up to us. So imagine Vajrasattva is delighted and wants to merge with your mind and melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown. And think my teacher's body, speech, and mind, if you have a teacher, Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same. So a little bit on emptiness, just think like this. In emptiness, there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma, and there is no negative karma created. So at whatever level you understand emptiness, place your mind there for a little while. And we can think of all phenomena as being empty. They do not exist from their own side. We can also think that the way things appear to me may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. So let that sink in for a moment. And an example of that would be the way a dog sees the world is very different, because the rods and cones in their eyes are different to ours. The way we receive the world through our olfactory senses is very different to the dogs, because we have less of an ability. The dog has a marvelous nose. We don't have all that equipment, so to say. So our experience of the world is different. It looks different. So which one is real? Which is the real one? My perception of the world or the dog's perception of the world? So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy you've created doing this purification to all living beings, and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. And so for those of you who have His Holiness as a teacher, so just make a very strong wish for His Holiness to have a long life and to be able to continue to teach. And then for those of you who have Lama Zopa Rinpoche as a teacher, just make a strong request for Rinpoche to return as quickly as possible. And then, of course, all of you who have just attended Geshe-la's class, so strong requests for Geshe-la to live long, and then for any other teachers that you may have. And they don't have to be even your Buddhist teachers. It can be your yoga teacher or your, like I said last night, your kindergarten teacher, the one who taught you how to read, recognize letters, and to count. Okay, everybody, lots of love. Take care. Good night, Source. Nice to see you, Anna, and everybody. And I will see you all tomorrow. It's Thursday, right? Yes.